Sahanavavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram. Om Parthaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Gratitam Purana Munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitamrita Varshini Bhagavati Ashtadasha Dhyayani Amba Tvamanusandadhami Bhagavad Gite Bhavadveshini Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Marutaha Stunvanti Devyaistavai Vedai Sangha Padakramopanishadaihi Gayanti Yam Samagaha Dhyanavasthita Tadgatena Manasa Pashyanti Yam Yoginaha Yasyantam Navidut Sura Suradana Devaya Tasmai Namaha Devaya Tasmai Namaha. Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha Om Shri Saraswatyai Namaha Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. My humble pranams to you all. So in this beautiful 15th chapter called Purushottam Yoga, this chapter gives us the detailed description of who Bhagwan is. Who is this Brahman, this Uttam Purusha, which will be described throughout the entire 15th chapter. And Bhagwan Sri Krishna starts this chapter with giving the example of a tree, Ashwatha tree, an upside down tree, where the roots are above. Above means not in space, but above means from the higher source, which is Bhagwan himself, upside down, and its branches are the whole, all the planets, the stars, the sun, the moon, and us, all of us, are the branches, and the tree is spread out. Adas chodvam prasritas tasya shakhaha. And how are this tree nourished? By the Vedas. Chandamsi yasya parnani yastam vedasa vedavita. So one who knows this tree is said to be a knower of the Vedas. And in the end, near the end, Bhagavan says Sarvavit, one who knows all. So this individual, whoever that person may be, who knows this world as a tree, as that which is spread out. The Vedas are its leaves. How are the Vedas the leaves? Because the leaves nourish and cover the tree. The Vedas nourish us. How? As we have seen in the Vedas, there is the Karma Kanda portion, which tells us how I should conduct myself in this world, the dharma, adharma, right and wrong. Vedas also teach us about various upasanas, how I should worship that Supreme Lord as a humble servant. And then in the Upanishad portion, it shows that there is one Brahman everywhere, and I am that, I am not separate from that. So the Vedas are the source of this knowledge, and inquiry must be done. So the purpose of the 15th chapter is to inquire as to what is the root. Why did the root, where did the word come from? Why do we need to know the root? Because just as say there is a leak in your house, you find there is a leak in somewhere in the ceiling. What do? You call the plumber, and he doesn't just patch up the leak in the ceiling. He goes to the root. Where is the pipe that is broken, and that has to be fixed. So similarly, worldly problems, we are trying to fix at the level of the world, trying to fix this. Oh, only if my husband was better, my wife, my job, my situation, my town, the weather. So we are trying to fix the world at the level of the leak, at the level of where the water is leaking. In this bit, we have to go to the root. So similarly, if you and I, we go to the root of the problem, that is not the root of the problem, but where the world originated, and I realize my oneness, then the world's problems are solved. So that's why the root is mentioned by Bhagavan Sri Krishna, and it says, Yastam Vedasa Vedavit. So one who knows where the world came from, what is the origin, how the world is spread out, and how the world will bind us, such a person is said to be Vedavit, the knower of the Vedas and the knower of this essential truth. So we had covered these two shlokas last week, and today Bhagavan Sri Krishna will tell us a little more about this world and how this tree example will be continued further. And then the process of detachment, because the world is catching us and preventing us from realizing our true nature, becoming one with that. So how can I detach myself from this world? And then also Bhagavan will today introduce the topic of who he is and where is this loka, the supreme abode, which is our true home, that is our true nature. And that will be introduced. And so that is just a brief summary of what we will be covering today in today's talk. So we'll do chapter 15, shloka number 3. Na rupamasyeha tathopalabhyate.
Na rupam asyeha tathopalabhyate.
Nanto na chadir na cha sampratishtha.
Nanto na chardin cha sampratishtha.
Ashvattamenam suvirudha moolam.
Asvasthamenam suviruram moolam.
Asanga shastrena dridhena chitva.
Asanga sastrena naditena chitva.
Okay, you can please mute and we'll all chant together. Narupamasyeha tathopalabhyate. Nanto na chadir na cha sampratishtha. Ashvattamenam suvirudha moolam. Asanga shastrena dridhena chitva. So Bhagavan says, Asya, of this tree, na rupam, what is actually the form of this world? What is the nature of this world? Asya iha, iha means here in this world. What is this world? Na rupam tatha uplabhyate. Uplabhyate means it's not available for us. In this way, as we see the world, it is not really that is the true nature. And what is the true nature of the world is not available to us. We see the world we think is real, but the Bhagavan, which is the substratum, which is the consciousness, is not available to us. So we do not see the world as is. See, what they say is you see everything as is. So narupam asyeha tatha upalabhyate. Asya iha, here of this, asya means of this tree, of this world. And what is the nature of this world and of this tree? Na antaha, there is no end. Nacha adi. So we don't know where this world started and where does it end. In space, we don't know how much is space. Space goes on and on and on and on, and billions and trillions of light years. I read somewhere there are 4 quadrillion black holes. 1,000 million makes a billion, 1,000 billion makes a trillion, 1,000 trillion makes a quadrillion. How these scientists can calculate that many black holes? Forget about how many stars and how much world and how many beings there may be. There might be different planets and who is the one that is beyond all this? That's what Bhagavan says. This world is only a small part of me, and how huge this world is. So he says, na anta na chadi. We don't know how big this world is, where it started and where it will end, not only in space, but also in time. When did this world start and when will the world end? So it is ananta in space and in time. The world also, because it's not that this particular universe started maybe after pralaya, but how many more lokas and universes and pralayas have happened? It is endless. And so the world is beginningless and endless in space and time. And the Brahman, of course, which is the substratum, is even further. And he says, so we don't know what is the beginning, we don't know what is the end, and nacha sampratishtha, and what is the substratum on which this world is standing. Kispe khada hua hai. What is the foundation on which this world is standing? It is not known to us. As is, is not known. So that is very important. It's not that we don't see the world, but we don't see the world as is. And also it is binding. We get stuck in this world. We get bound. So he says, this tree of Ashwatha, we had talked about Ashwatha, that which will not be the same tomorrow. So this continuously changing tree, Enam. This Ashwatham, what is the nature of it? Rudha Moolam. Rudha Moolam means it has a strong roots. And not only strong roots, Su and Vi means very, very strong. So twice Bhagavan has put 2 more adjectives. So it is strong. Su means very strong and Vi means very much. So Su Vi Rudha Moolam means not only the roots are strong, it is very, very strong. And that's why we feel that this world we cannot get out of, because we are caught. Our feet are as though anchored, and more attachments we build up. I am attached to this, I am attached to that. So this world is holding us. How do we get out of it? He says, Asanga Shastrena. Shastra means the axe. Asanga means the axe of detachment. So use the axe of detachment, Dridhena, which is very strong, so that it's not easy to get out of this bondage. But if I have a strong sense of this passion, strong sense of detachment, then having cut. So now this 3rd shloka is continued in the 4th shloka. So having cut this world with the strong axe of detachment, then what we'll do in the next shloka. So let us see. So as we said, the world is not as is. And why is that? Because the world, and we'll talk in detail throughout this talk today about why the world is continuous and why does it appear so solid, but is actually not. We'll cover that in much detail. But the example Shankaracharya ji gives is Alat Chakra. He calls it Alat Chakra. So, those of you as childhood, remember we used to have those sparklers, this puljari they call, and we rotate it fast. And it looks like there is a continuous circle. We used to play that game and you rotate the light fast. Actually, there is no circle. It is an illusion. So similarly, this world is an illusory projection, and why it is, we'll cover in more detail. So they say that the world is mithya. Mithya means that it's not that I don't perceive the world. You say, I see the world, I see the mountains, I have all my physical problems, emotional problems. That is true. But the reality of the world is something else. It is an illusory projection upon this Brahman, this consciousness. And the world is endless. We already talked about that, endless in space and endless in time. So it is said here that the entire, when we say the world, we think the world is what I can see, hear, smell, taste, and touch. But Gurudev says not only our perceptions, but all our emotions, joy, sorrow, love, hatred, compassion, kindness, selfishness, unselfishness, all our emotions are covered, all emotions, and all our thoughts, all our ideas, our concepts, our scientific discoveries, all our literature, all the knowledge, all, there are millions of journals and books and all that, all the internet, all whatever is there, that is all this tree of this world. Ashwatha tree is everything. And why don't I see Bhagwan? Why don't I see God? Because of avidya, because of vasanas. So it is said avidya is not knowing that I am that reality and everything is that. Once for a Mahatma who has gone beyond the body and mind and intellectual limitations, he or she will see the world as is, that there is only one consciousness appearing as many. But you and I, in our ignorance, we see the variety and we give reality to the variety. It's not that there is a variety, but saying that that is real is the foolishness. And we'll talk about how the world is unreal. And so what is the ignorance? The ignorance is said to be vasana. So Gurudev says when vasanas are reduced, when our selfish desires are reduced, then the world will have less bondage. So the avidya can only end with vidya. Avidya cannot be removed by doing puja or by doing service. All those are necessary to quieten the mind. And one must do japa, meditation, chanting, sit for puja, remember God. But avidya can only be removed by vidya, like darkness. You cannot remove buckets of darkness and throw out of the room. All you have to do is light one small lamp and darkness will disappear. So Bhagavan Sri Krishna is saying, I'm giving you the vidya by which you can remove this ignorance, this darkness. And then they said, you say I'm bound. I'm not bound. I live in a free country. I can criticize the president if I want. I can write a letter to the newspaper. You cannot do that in Russia or China. But here I can, criticize anybody. I can talk. I can build a house where I want. I can buy. But when we say bandha, means our dependence on objects and people and situations for our joy. So bondage is that without this person, I'm incomplete, without this object, and I must have more and more. So the bondage is with people, objects, and situations. So it is said, how do we cut it? So Bhagavan says, Suvi Rudha. This bondage is so strong. He said, Arey, main maya mein phasi hui hu. People always say that, how can I get out? So Bhagavan says, by the sharp acts of detachment. Keep your act sharp. Detachment, do not depend on things. And how can I sharpen it? By vivek and vairagya. So know the truth of this world and then detach from it. And so that is called the sharp acts of detachment. So dispassion is very important, where I live independent of world and situations. Not that I don't work with people or help people or take care of people, but my dependence upon the world should be reduced. And how do I do that? by giving reality to Paramatma, Atma, and detaching from Anatma. Whatever you see in this world is Anatma. Atma or consciousness is one. This variety is an appearance. So you detach from things. And how do we detach? By an ability to give up. If I can give something up, then I am detached. So by sharing, by helping others, and we'll talk about how to give up selfishness later on in this talk. So talking about giving up, so there was this very rich businessman who was driving in his huge car, big Cadillac he had, and his chauffeur was driving him. And he was going along the road, and he saw two people on the side of the road eating grass. There was grass on the side. And he told the driver, stop, let me see. So the driver stopped. So he got down. He says, why are you two of you eating grass? He says, sir, we are very poor. We don't have any food. So we have to eat grass. So the businessman said, you know what? Come to my house. I will feed you. So they were very happy. So he told the first guy, get in my car. He said, sir, but my wife and two children are under the tree. There, that tree. He said, bring them too. So they all piled into his car, and tells the second guy, you come too. He says, sir, my wife and three children are under the other tree. Said, get them in too. So the businessman is in front next to the driver, and all of them somehow piled into his huge Cadillac. And they were driving, and the two men say, sir, you are so generous. You are such a loving person. You are taking us to your house to feed us. He says, yes, you will love my house. The grass in my house is 3 feet long. I'll feed you as much as you want. So that is not giving. True giving is where I share what I have, and nothing actually belongs to me. Everything belongs to him. Whose wealth is it? We've studied in the Ishavasya Upanishad, nothing belongs to me. Tera tujhko arpan, kya lage mera? We tell Bhagwan that, so whatever I have, Bhagwan, is yours, and I offer it to you. So when I'm giving somebody, it should not be with ego or arrogance, but with the idea that Bhagwan has given, and I'm giving back to Bhagwan. And what are the 3 ashanas? Our Upanishads say there are 3 ashanas, 3 things that bind us. Putreshana, Viteshana, and Lokeshana. So Putra Ashana means children, means family. So my family, I get attached to, and without this person, or my son didn't call, I'm worried, or my dog. So that is my granddaughter, my children, my grandchildren. So we are attached to that, and without that, we are miserable. Second is Viteshana. Viteshana means wealth, means property, my things. I'm so attached. Even the smallest thing I don't want to give. Even the thing I have not used for 20 years, I don't want to throw away. So that is called Viteshana, where I am attached to things and I don't want to give them up. And the third one is Lokeshana. Lokeshana means in this world, I should have name and fame. I should become famous. People should love me. People should respect me. Nobody loves me. Nobody. So all those 3 ashanas are what are binding us. Family, things, and the world. So Bhagavan says, slowly with the axe of attachment, which is kept sharp by Vivek and Vairagya, detach from this world. You say, Arey, if I give up all this, then what will I do? You say, don't be attached to things. Don't be attached to emotions. Don't be attached to our ideas. Or then I'll be a zero. I'll be useless, right? We are not saying do not have them, but do not be attached to them. Then what should I be attached to? You are saying, sab kuch chhod do, to kisko pakdu? So Bhagavan says, I will tell you kisko pakna hai. That will be in the 4th shloka. We can chant. Tatah padam tat parimargitavyam.
Tata padam tat parimargitavyam.
Yasmin gata na nivartanti bhuyaha.
Yasman gata na nirvartanti bhuyaha.
Tameva chadyam purusham prapadye.
Tameva chadyam purusam prapadye.
Yatah pravritti prasrita purani.
Yata pravritta prasitta purani.
Okay, all chant together. Tatah padam tat parimargitavyam. Yasmin gata na nivartanti bhuyaha. Tameva chadyam purusham prapadye. Yatah pravritti prasrita purani. So tatah padam. Tata means that. Padam means that state. So having given up attachment, see, the mind always needs something to attach to, right? I need something to love. So he says reduce dependence on and hold on to that supreme pada, that padam, and that padam should be parimargi tavyam. Tavyam means it is a pratyaya, means it must be done. And parimargi means it must be followed. So that path must be followed, and pada here, this, that marga means that path should be followed, which will lead us to that goal. So what is the path and what is the goal is perfectly indicated in the 15th chapter. That's why the 15th chapter is said to be a complete chapter. And so that path must be followed. There is no choice. It is, Bhagavan is not saying, "Are time hai to karo, nahi to nahi." No, it must be done. Margi tavyam. And yasmin gata, having gone there, na nivartanti bhuyaha. Again, you cannot return. What does it mean you cannot return? Does not mean that you get, that somehow you are kidnapped and taken hostage. Gurudev says it very beautifully. He says it is a one-way street. Once you get on this path, then nothing else compares to it. So you automatically go there. Na nivartanti bhuya. He says, once you take up my path, Bhagavan says, I make it easy for you, and we'll talk about that. And he says, Yasmin gata na nivartanti bhuyaha. Again, nivartanti means return. Bhuya means again. So there is no return. It is a one-way street. And tam eva, that Bhagwan, that consciousness, cha adyam. Adyam means ancient. That means it was there even before time, even before these universes came in. And what is it called? Here it is called Purusham. Purusham does not mean male or female. Purusham means this supreme consciousness, which is neither male nor female. God is not male or female. God is the consciousness which is beyond sex, just as electricity. Is it male or female? No, it is energy. So God is like that. So Bhagavan says, Prapadye, I prostrate, I submit, that means I have to turn my attention to that, surrender to that, and offer myself to this supreme God. And who is that? Yata. Yata is the fifth case of Yaha. Yata means from which. Pravriti. Pravriti means all this activity. Prasrita. Prasrita means spread out. So from one root, all this whole tree of world has spread out. So from one consciousness, you and I all have emerged. That's why they say cause is in the effect, right? If from mud, if you make pot, cup, saucer, jug, all of them are nothing but mud with different shape and form. You can color it, you can paint it, but the essence of all is mud. So similarly, one formless consciousness has taken all these forms, which is called nama rupa, but the essence, just as the essence of pot is mud, the essence of all of us is Brahman. And from that, Pravriti, Prasrita has spread out. Purani, this ancient appears to be ancient world has come out from that one source. So as we said, it's not that we are asking you to give up. It is to understand what is reality. And in our meditation, that's what Gurudev says. In our meditation, attention should be turned from this body, mind, and intellect, objects, emotions, and thoughts in the BMI chart to Om, which is my true nature, as we had talked even last week. As Kerry had said, from one Om, this whole tree of BMI, TFT, OET has come. So that should be our meditation. But everything is changing. Everything is changing in this world. Yesterday, what was, today is not the same. I am not the same as I was yesterday. Nobody is. Our cells have changed so many. So it's everything is like a bubble. Just as a bubble comes and bubble goes. Kabir Das ji says it very beautifully. Ek chala, ek gathdi bandhe. One has gone, and the one who has stayed here is tying up his baggage, gathri, ke mujhe bhi le jani hai. I also have to go. So each one of us is tying our gathri. So while you are tying your gathri, remember where do you have to go, and pay attention to that, because none of us is going to stay here very long. As long as we are, let us remember God. And I have to purify my mind. Why is my mind not working? Why is my mind not turning to God? Because we have a lot of too much activities, too much karmas. Oh, I have to do this, I have to do that. You don't know how busy I am. Yeah, he's very busy or she's very busy, but you call them, they don't mind talking 45 minutes on the phone. So are you that busy, or on the internet? So it says you first start by giving up nishiddha karma. Okay, things that I should not do, give them up. I should not hurt people, be angry, hatred, jealousy, all that, nishiddha karma. Then give up kamya karma, selfish activities that I'm only doing for myself, and do more and more nishkama karma, unselfish activities without ego, without doership, that Bhagwan is working through me. So slowly from nishiddha karma to sakama, selfish activities, to unselfish activities, surrendered to God. And that is very, very important, that I am not doing anything. Bhagwan alone is working on the path of bhakti, on the path of knowledge. We have talked about, I am this consciousness, and in me, this body, mind, and intellect, and this world is working. But you and I may not be at that level of Upanishads. So work with surrender, that Bhagwan, you are the doer, I am a humble instrument. And the more we do that, that will reduce our ego, that I am doing something great, I am somebody special. And so through jnana and bhakti, this knowledge will become stronger. So I have to surrender. And there is nothing to give up. There is nowhere to go. It's not Bhagwan is saying, you must go, parimargi tavyam. You must be going. So it's not like we have to go somewhere. It is only by vichara, by right understanding. So that's all they say, that just do thinking, contemplate what we have heard today, contemplate upon it. Is it true? Does it make any sense? And then if it makes sense, then apply it. Otherwise, drop it. So listen to the Bhagwan's words and of course, Puja Gurudev's commentary, and try to apply these teachings. So they say the world is swapna, is like a dream, is not real. They say, come on. You are saying Brahman is infinite. I believe that. You are saying I am Brahman. I believe that also. But at least let the world be real. Why are you taking away the world from us? Isko to at least rehne do. So we say there are 3 reasons, beautifully I heard recently, why the world cannot be real. You say, okay, try to convince me why the world is not real. You are saying, I see the table, I see my dog, I see my neighbor, house. How is this world not real? So there are 3 beautiful reasons and very powerful. First one is that Brahman is Ananta, right? We say unless everywhere is Brahman, right? If Brahman is everywhere, if God is everywhere, where is space for the world to exist? The example I heard recently was, suppose there is a hall and you fill it with chairs from top to bottom because you're expecting 1,000, people. So the hall is filled with chairs. There is no space. They say, you haven't brought any tables. Where are you going to? Sorry, I have no space. I have my 1,000 chairs that fill the hall. So there is no space to fill the table. But he said, but can you put a picture of the table? He says, yeah, that I can do. I can take a picture of the table and project it upon the chairs. There are your tables. But actually, tables are not there. There cannot be room for tables if the hall is filled. So similarly, if Brahman is filling this whole universe, where is space for the world? So world is like that picture of the table, just as you have projected upon the chair and you think tables are there. So this world is a picture upon Brahman. Appearance. It's just a photo, appearance, movie, natak, whatever you want to call it. So that is first reason. The world cannot be real. There cannot be two reals. If Brahman is real and this world is real, that means Brahman is limited by the world. That there is Brahman and there is this real world. And if there are two reals, it cannot be, because if Brahman is infinite, it is everywhere. So there cannot be reality. It has to be a photo, a movie projected upon Brahman. That is first meaning. Second reason is Upanishads say, and if you say this world is not real, then Upanishads are false. I mean, if the world is real, you are saying, then Upanishads are false, because again and again it says, in Ishava Saparyaga Shukramakayam Avranam. So it is all pervading. Everything is that consciousness. When everything is that consciousness, then the world cannot be real. It has to be a projection. It is there, but it is not as is. It is a projection upon that. The third and the very scary reason, if you say the world is real, you're calling Bhagwan Krishna a liar. That is because Bhagwan Krishna says, Maya tatam idam sarvam jagadavyakta murtina matsthani sarva bhutani na chaham teshva vasthitah na cha matsthani bhutani pashya me yogam aishwaram. He says, I am pervading this whole universe and nothing in this universe is there except for me. Whatever you are seeing is an illusion. So he himself has very clearly said in the 9th chapter, so do you believe in Bhagwan Krishna? He says, yeah, that I believe. So then not only believe him and doing puja in the morning, that is good, but people say, I love Bhagwan Krishna, but I don't want to study Bhagavad Gita. How can you be a lover of Bhagwan and not study his teaching? So if you love God, like you say, I love Sri Ram, but I don't want to read Ramayana. No, you have to study Bhagwan's glories, his leelas, and his teachings. So these are the three reasons. Brahman is infinite, cannot be two reals. Vedas have said it and Bhagwan has said it. So that's why this world is unreal. It is a movie upon that. And then in the 13th chapter, he says, Neyam yattat pravakshami yad nyatva amritam ashnute anadi mat param brahma nasad nasad uchyate. So he says that alone is neyam, and that is all pervading, and that is all hands are his. Sarvata pani padam tat sarvata shishiro mukham. All hands are his, all feet are his, all heads are his. So that means speech, hands, feet are all working because of that one. And that is the Supreme Brahman, and that is from which pravritti has come all this changing. So they say change can only be known if there is a changeless factor. So as a river can only flow if there is a changeless river bed. If the river bed is all mud and all, breaking and changing, then the river cannot flow. River will get dispersed. So the river needs a changeless bed, which is firm. So similarly, this whole river of this world is flowing upon that changeless substratum called the consciousness. As we said, movie also, you need a screen. You cannot project movie in the air, in the theater. You won't see it. You need a screen on which the movie is projected. So similarly, we need a substratum on which the movie of this world is going on. So people say, okay, Bhagwan, I'm ready. You say that, yes, it should be known. Okay, I'm ready. That path should be followed. I'm ready. Parimargitavyam, yes. Now, can you tell me about that padam? That I have not understood. I need some guidance. I need some help. I'm lost without this knowledge. I'm lost. And you said tat padam tat parimargi tavyam must be done. You're not even giving us a choice. So I'm ready to go on this path. You just show me the path, I will go. So Bhagavan said, wait a minute. Don't hurry up yet. First, you have to get ready. See, like when I'm going on a trip, we have to get ready, right? I have to buy a ticket, make reservations, find out what time I can go, which flight goes to the city. Then I have to pack my bags. Then I have to go to bed early. The next morning from Bakersfield, flight is usually at 5 or 6 a.m. So I have to wake up at 4, go to the airport. So all that readiness is required for any trip. So here it is the highest trip, and that is trip to Bhagwan himself. So what is that which will make me ready? How can I become ready before I undertake the trip? All the planning. So Bhagwan had given in detail in the 13th chapter, amanitvam, adambitvam, ahimsa, kshanti, arjavam, acharyopasanam, shaucham, stairyam, atma vinigraha. All those qualities that were given by Bhagwan in many shlokas. Here he has used one shloka to summarize how I can get ready. And that is what we call as sadhan chatushtaya. In our Vedas, it is called as sadhan chatushtaya. That has been explained only in one shloka, how I can get ready. But in that one shloka, Bhagavan has put so much material that it will take us a good amount of time to cover that today. So we'll do shloka number 5. Nirmana moha jita sanga doshaha.
Nirmana moha jita sanga dosaha.
Adhyatma nitya vinivritta kamaha.
Adhyatam nitya vinivritta kamaha.
Dvandvair vimukta sukha dukkha sangyaihi.
Dhanvairi mukta sukha dukkha sangaihi.
Gacchantya mudaf padamavyayam tata.
Gacchanta muda padamavyayam tata.
Okay, all together. Nirmana moha jita sanga doshaha. Adhyatma nitya vinivritta kamaha. Dvandvair vimukta sukha dukkha sangyaihi. Gacchantya mudha padamavyayam tat. So how do I get ready for this trip to Bhagwan? So what is the prerequisites? So Bhagwan says, nir means not at all. Mana and moha. Mana means my self-esteem, that I think I am somebody great. So he says, have none of that. And moha means delusion. So we'll talk about what is mana and moha. And then, so one has given up mana and moha, no delusion and no high self-esteem. Self-esteem does not mean I don't have self-confidence, but this arrogance that I am somebody great should be given up. And jita, and he has conquered what? Sangha dosha, attachments. Attachments will bind us. And dosha means they are evil, they are faulty. So the faultiness of attachments, why attachments are bad, will be given up, and that should be conquered. So for this person who is on this trip, he has to give up mana, moha, attachments. And then another quality Bhagavan says, adhyatma nitya. Nitya means he's always established in the self, that I am that. His understanding is nitya. It's not temporary. It's not that in Sunday morning after Gita class is very clear, but by afternoon slowly gone, and Sham tak to forget it. And Monday to I even forget even the number of the shlokas. No, this knowledge should be nitya. It should be always. And that's why repeated listening will strengthen, just as our understanding of this world is strengthened by repeated thinking about it. So repeated listening upon this will strengthen my belief. And that is what, so you have to replace worldly buddhi with adhyatma buddhi. Worldly knowledge has to be replaced with spiritual knowledge, and that should become my constant thinking, constant refrain, just as you play music in your house and constantly it is playing. So in my mind, constantly this mantra should be going on. Om Namah Shivaya, Sri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Constant chanting and constant dwelling upon these thoughts. That is called manana, dwelling upon these thoughts. And then nidhi dhyasana is abiding in this thought. So adhyatma nitya, and then vinivritta kamaha, and nivritta means chutti ho gayi from desires. And visheshana nivritta, he has become completely free of kama. Kama here means selfish activities. Not that I don't love people or things, but I don't love people for what I can get. I love people because God himself is there in that. So vinivritta kamaha. And dvandvaihi, that is the fifth case, from the pair of opposites, vimuktaha. He is completely free from, what are the pair of opposites? Sukha, dukkha, sangyahi. Said to be sukha, dukkha, but there are many other pairs of opposites. Bhagavan is mentioning only one, but it is shitoshna, sukha, dukkheshu, shatru, mitro, enemy, friend, joy and sorrow, heat and cold, man, apman, honor, dishonor, place. Everything, all these pairs of opposites, he is free from. And such people, gachanti, they go. And who are those people? Amudha. Mudha means foolish people. Mudha means those who are wise people, who are not foolish and have all these qualities. They should have no arrogance. They should have no delusion, no attachments, always abiding in the self, free from selfish desires, free from pairs of opposites. Not that pairs of opposites will not be there. There will be heat and cold, joy and sorrow, success and failure. But since he is Adhyatma Nitya, since he is ever established in the truth, he sees situations, yes, sometimes happy, sometimes unhappy, and they take care of situations. Not that you don't fix things, but inside I am not disturbed, affected by these changes. And he watches these changes, just as in a movie, you watch, there is a hero, then there is a villain, and then hero and heroine are going through hard time, villain is winning, but at the end, what happens? Hero beats the villain and 25 other people with him, single-handed, and villain and all those guys go to jail. Hero, heroine get married and live happily ever after. They never have any fights, any conflicts, no. So that is the typical movie. So that is, when you watch the movie and you come out, chalo acha hua, at least there was a happy ending. If the movie has an unhappy ending, they say maja nahi aaya. At least hero won and they are happy. So that is called sukha dukkha, and he is able to watch all of them. And such people can come to what? Padam avyayam tata, that immutable pada, that immutable location, that immutable state of me. That is what they call as Krishna consciousness, abiding in that state of being one with Bhagavan Shri Krishna. So let us see why mana and moha are not good. Mana means I think I am up here, and somebody comes and tells me you are not up here, you are down here. You are just, you are nobody. How it hurts my feelings. Look at this person. He came and insulted me, told me I'm useless, I'm not good for nothing. So that is mana, thinking that I am somebody great. And when somebody doesn't appreciate, people, they don't appreciate what all I have done. You don't know how good I am. So that is called mana. And if I get down by somebody's words, that is called mana. So nirmana. And then moha is delusion that I give too much importance to this world, and this world is real. So Brahma Satyam, Jagan Mithya. But I think Jagat Satyam, Brahma Mithya. See, that is my understanding. World is real and Bhagwan is there somewhere. Maybe hoga ke nahi hoga, I'm not sure. But world is there for sure. So it is other way around. Brahman is for sure. Jagat is Mithya. So that is called delusion. And because I think I am this body, then I do all activities for maintenance of this body and taking care. So all my selfish activities and wanting and jealousy and greed and hatred and competition all come from idea that I am this body, the world is real. See, these are the two problems we have. I am this body and world is real. So you say, I am not this body, Brahman alone is real, and I am also Brahman. And for that, you need a strong will. See, we have a phrase called IQ, IQ, intelligence quotient. So one author come up with WQ, will quotient, how much strong will you have. See, we say, yeah, I want to do it, but I can't. If you want to do it, do it. Why there is this, I can't do it? No, you should have the strong will that I will do what is required to reach my goal. So have a strong will, but we have very strong will in other things, in possessing things, making money. There we are able to put all the effort. But in spirituality, we say, Adha ghanta pad liya bahut hai. I read half an hour, now I'm tired, my brain is tired. But we don't get tired of watching 3-hour movie. But half an hour se jada, I can't study spirituality. My brain hurts. That's a typical thing people say. Pad liya bahut, abhi kal padenge. But so that is called will quotient. We don't have enough will. So the idea should be as much time as is required, Bhagwan, I will do. As much effort is required, Bhagwan, I will put. Whatever is required, I will do. And one should always, adhyatma nitya, always stay in the self, that is who I am. What I am, what I see outside. That's why they say this person is very transparent. What you get is what you see. That means what he is inside, he is also outside. So that understanding. So we have these two personalities. One, what I am at home, and one, what I see, what I show to the world. So I am something different, and what I show in the world is something different. But if a person is truly established in the truth, then he is only one. Slowly the difference between the two separate and one alone, and that is called Mahatma. Because the Mahatma is not different with one or different. Guruji, Swami Tejomayanandaji, if you meet him, he makes everybody think that they are special, that they are, because for him, everybody is Bhagwan. And people will say, oh, Guruji, I am most close to him. And that is the beauty of these Mahatmas. So what they say, that this teaching is there in the scriptures, but we don't see it. Pashyan api na pashyati. It is said very clearly in the Upanishads that even though repeatedly the master is telling us, but we don't follow this teaching. So that is the problem. Then people say, how can I give up selfishness? People say, how? So I heard a very beautiful how to give up selfishness. They say it's very simple. Don't feed it. Like if there is a weed growing in your yard, do you feed the weed? No, you take the weed out, or you don't pay attention to the weed, you pay more attention to the plants. So similarly, the more we pay attention to the selfish activities, the more they will grow. Like the more nourishment you give to a plant, the more it grows. So they say, don't pay attention, and slowly see the world as whole, as one. There is one world, in which all this variety is there. In one Brahman, this totality is seen. So that ability to see one in all, and that is called going beyond the pair of opposites. And in Vivek Chudamani, we were studying, and there was a very beautiful example given by Acharya, which says that life is like a wheelbarrow. See, wheelbarrow, if you know, is that we fill it up with load, and especially the work in the field, which has two legs and one wheel, and then you can push it. Everybody knows that. So our goal is the highest. So what do? We have to push the wheelbarrow up, but the wheelbarrow is loaded, is full with weight, right? What is our weight? Our likes and dislikes, our negativities, our hatred, our jealousy, our, all these worldly attachments. And not only that, but the wheelbarrow is tied with a rope to the stick, to the nail. Then you can't push the wheelbarrow up. Why? Because it is fixed. So it is fixed with attachment. So as you reduce attachments, as you reduce raga, dvesha, likes and dislikes, slowly the wheelbarrow becomes less heavy, and you can push it up, 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 up to the top. And then what happens? Then to go to the other side is very smooth, right? You want to go up the hill and down the hill. So down the hill is who is there? That is Bhagwan. Bhagwan says, then I will help you. You put your effort, you develop these qualities, and I am always there. Even while pushing up, Bhagwan is helping us. And once you get there, then he says, then you have smooth sailing, you can reach to me. So applying these qualities, we can reach God. So the goal should be very clear. And I should detach from the world, attach to the goal. And for that, sadhana is required. I have to put in effort. It's not going to happen by itself. So that's why he says, apply these qualities, mana, moha, sangha. You slowly give up. And that's why this Nike has this slogan, just do it. So same way Bhagwan says, just do it. What I am telling you in the Bhagavad Gita, what Puja Gurudev has written in his commentaries, apply that and realize that in this world, problems will come. That's why in the second chapter, Bhagwan says, Matra Prashastu Kaunteya, Shitoshna Sukha Dukha Daha, Agama Apaino Nityaha, Tanstitik Shasva Bharata. Oh Arjuna, whatever you see in the world will give you heat and cold, joy and sorrow, success and failure. But how do you bear it? Titiksha. Pains will be there, problems will be there, but have the forbearance that yes, world is giving me problems, but problems are happening to the body, not happening to me. And bodily problems, you have to go to the doctor, take medicine, take care, but inside you are not disturbed. That is called titiksha. And Bhagavan says, Yam hi na vyatyantete purusham purusharshabha samasukha dukham dhiram so amritatvaya kalpate. Bhagavan again says in the second chapter that a person who is not disturbed by these problems, physical, mental, intellectual, emotional problems, he is fit for immortality. So how do I achieve my immortal state, become one with Bhagwan? By going beyond these pairs of opposites. So this is my ticket. Remember we said that preparation, you have to buy the ticket. So the 15th chapter, especially this shloka, is buying the ticket. And then somebody said it very beautifully, so you bought the ticket to go to Bhagwan, but you're writing him a letter, right? Bhagwan, how can I'm coming. So you write to him a letter, right? When you're going to somebody, you send an email. In the olden days, we used to send a letter. So first you call him. And what is the call? Om. Om is the hello. You say Om, that means, okay, hello, Bhagwan. And what is the letter you write to Bhagwan that I'm coming? 15th chapter. Just chant the 15th chapter, and that is the letter. And you say, Bhagwan, I've chanted. And chant means not mechanically chant, but know the meaning of it. So when you chant the 15th chapter with understanding, that is my letter to Bhagwan. So Om is the hello, the shloka number 5 is the ticket, and the entire 15th chapter is the letter. So doing all these, we will reach him, that is for sure. And the remaining shlokas, starting from 6 onward, from next week, will describe more this padam, the state. What is the state? And who is Bhagwan, and how can we see him in the world? Even though we say Bhagwan is not seen, but Bhagwan says you can see me very clearly in all these things. So he will tell us where to find him and how to find him and how to go beyond this world, what they call as transcendental progress. All that will be covered in the next few weeks. Very beautiful verses today. So we talked about how to detach from this world and seek this highest goal, and what are the qualities we should have, which we call sadhan, chatushtaya, nirmana, moha, etc. So now we have time. If anybody would like to add anything or ask any questions or any other things you would like to discuss, please feel free to contribute. Thank you.
Anilji, can you repeat those 3 things which binds us? The 3 words you use for which binds us.
Oh, for the real and unreal?
Viteshna,
The 3 things which bind us.
Oh, Viteshna, Lokeshna, and Putreshana. Yeah.
First is
Putreshana means family, children.
Progeny.
You know, Putra means children. So progeny, family, children, Putreshana. Viteshana means money. That means includes all my possessions, my home, my business, all my all my saris, my jewelry. That all comes in Viteshana. So that binds us. And third is Lokeshana. That idea that I must get name and fame. People must honor me. People must respect me. Somebody should not criticize. So this image we present. So 3 things: Putreshana, Viteshana, and Lokeshana. So these 3 things bind us. So one should be free from these 3 ashanas, these 3 attachments, bindings.
desires.
Desires you can call. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, Lata, go ahead.
In the shloka number 4, Purusham is considered Adyam. Can you elaborate on that a little bit, please?
Thank you. Yeah, Adyam means ancient. Adyam means before. So that which was before everything, that is Adyam. That is most ancient, most before time. Even before time was, that supreme consciousness alone was. That's why even in the Bible they say, God alone was, and then he created the world in 7 days. So Adya means ancient, before.
Okay, so Purani is also ancient,
Purani
and
means,
Adya is also
Right.
ancient.
right.
So in this one book it says Adyam is primeval.
Primeval, yeah,
And
same thing. Primeval means
and then Purani is
ancient. So primeval means before time.
Creation.
Before creation, before time. So the meaning is all the same. Ancient, eternal, before time, Sanatana, they say Shashwat. They use a word for Bhagwan, Shashwat. So all that means that.
All those are interchangeable there.
Right.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Represent beyond time.
Beyond time, yes.
Mm.
Beyond time.
So time and space are in him.
Yeah. Time and space. Before even time only started when human beings were able to start thinking.
Between
So
two
before thoughts, there was no time.
Okay.
Yeah, so Anilji, it's amazing. These slokas and the verses are just so profoundly beautiful. So number 3 relates to our thinking. As you indicated, we have trillions of galaxies and they hold trillions of stars. One other small star is the Earth, and then we have this world, these many countries, and we are then we have one state, and then one city, and then one street, and then one house, and then there are 10 people in the house, and then I am. So we feel ourselves to be so significant, and yet we are so insignificant if you think about all this, right? And then that is our wrong, erroneous thinking, avidya. And then number 5 states to abide into yourself. We do abide in ourself, but the one that is created by our avidya, not the one that is created by the knowledge itself, right? So it really strikes our thinking process, both verses, so beautifully. If we actually think about just these two, it really our life will be much more happier.
True.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Somebody recently told me, he says, when you deliver these talks, don't get an ego that I am teaching. The moment that comes, the downfall starts. Think it is Bhagwan. And I have to remind myself again and again that Bhagwan is speaking. He is the one, Guru is talking. Otherwise, it is very easy to get this subtle ego, and it happens in everything. I am the best cook. I do so much. I am so helpful. I am so kind. I am so compassionate. All those are egos. Bhagwan is everything, and one has to again and again remind oneself.
Yeah, exactly. So because we abide into the wrong self, that's
Right.
why it happens. We have such a strongest identification with that. So that's what happens. That's how we start. That is our starting point.
Yes.
Unfortunately. Yes.
Thank you. Umaji, you have a comment?
I just wanted to say, we are the agents. God, I don't know, there may be people who have seen him, but most of us really haven't seen it.
Mm-hmm.
So people like you are a source of giving the knowledge to other people. So it's not the ego for you to say, well, the ego would be if God has given me this knowledge that I can help others to gain the knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I see it.
True.
That's true.
Because all of us don't have that knowledge. So somebody has chosen you as the agent to do it, to spread the knowledge.
Yeah, thank you. That's so true. I should always remember that. Maybe I'll have you remind me every week. Hansa, you have logged in first time. Anything you would like to add? Hansa Ben is here. I'm talking to Hansa Patel.
No, nothing much.
It took us 6 through 9, man.
Yeah,
No.
go ahead, Hansa.
No, nothing much to add. I just was thinking about the Tagore statement that we read one time,
Yes.
that we are one with the stocks and stones, except that individually, each one of us have special qualities,
Mm-hmm.
and that complements the world. And I am unique in a way, even though I'm one with that stone and stocks.
Right.
So in other words, we need to remember that we are, even though we are individual, we are not really separate entity.
Yes.
We are one with the whole universe, or Brahman, you can say.
Thank you. Perfect. Anybody else? Hansa Ben? I didn't mean to. Anybody who would like to add, please feel free. Otherwise, we'll do the Aarti. Om Natatra Suryo Bhati Na Chandra Tarakam Nema Vidyuto Bhanti Kutoyam Agnihi तमेव भान्तमनुभाति सर्वं तस्य भाषा सर्वमिदं विभाति। बोलिए श्री कृष्ण चंद्र भगवान की जय। आरती श्री चिन्मय सद्गुरु की, दिव्य रूप मूर्ति करुणा की। आरती सद्गुरु की, चरणों में उनके शांति समाए। शरणागत की भ्रांति मिटाए। पाप ताप संताप हरण की। आरती श्री चिन्मय सद्गुरु की। आरती सद्गुरु की। वेद उपनिषद गीता को गाया। धर्म सनातन फिर से जगाया। शुद्ध नीति प्रीति शंकर की। आरती श्री चिन्मय सद्गुरु की। आरती सद्गुरु की। सिद्ध बाड़ी की तपो भूमि में, नित्य विराजे गुरु हमारे। भक्त हृदय आनंद श्रोत्र की। आरती श्री चिन्मय सद्गुरु की। आरती सद्गुरु की। आरती सद्गुरु की। बोलिए श्री सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय। Everybody can please take the आरती। वाचा मनसेन्द्रियैर्वा बुद्ध्यात्मना वा प्रकृते स्वभावात् करोमि यद्यत् सकलं परस्मै नारायणायेति समर्पयामि। नारायणायेति समर्पयामि। सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः, सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु, मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्। ॐ असतो मा सद्गमय, तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय, मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। Harihi Om. Thank you very much. Hari Om. As Auntie just said, always remember God is in us. He is with us. Thank you. Please remember that. This is the homework for this week. Remembering God. Thank you.
Thank you. Hari Om.
Thank you.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.